Is hypnosis voodoo? No. And actually, by the time the end of this episode airs, you guys are going to understand that you have actually been self hypnotizing your entire life. So come on, let's go. First of all, this is the Beauty Confidential Lounge, and I am your host, Chaitali Desai, and I am so excited to be back. There have been so many changes, so many new additions, new certifications, all the things. Before we get into all of it, any of it, I want to give a huge shout out to my graphic designer, Cheryl of Shermeo Socials. Excuse me. Shermeo Socials. She has done a phenomenal job upgrading the podcast design, the overall look, and I love it. So thank you so much. And if you are looking for a graphic designer, I'll be adding her information below. Now, what have I been up to? I know I've been away for a little bit, but really I had to step back to gain some clarity, to get a little bit of extra mentorship so I can see exactly what it is I want to do and how I'm going to bring my magic into the world. Now, I have a whole episode coming on clarity and why sometimes stepping away or getting into mentorship is the right decision, but that's coming next. Right now, we're talking hypnosis. I freaking love it. It is not voodoo. It is not mind control. It is not whatever conspiracy theorists want you to think. Guys, it's science. And you actually self hypnotize every day, all day, even right before you go to sleep. Let me tell you how. Have you ever gotten into your car? And I'll use the driving example because really, I know you can relate. And it's so easy to visualize it, which is also a form of hypnosis, just saying. Anyways, have you ever gotten into your car and decided, hey, I need to go to the grocery store quickly? And all of a sudden you remember opening the door, getting into the driver's seat, and all of a sudden you're at the grocery store? You guys have heard me talk about this before. It's called hypnotic driving. And it happens because your subconscious mind, yeah, we're going to get a little sciencey here. Your subconscious mind takes over. It's like, hey, oh, I know we're going to the grocery store. We're going to take a right, we're going to take a left, and then we're going to go straight, and boom, we're there. Hypnotic driving, you do it every time you get in the car, most likely, or at least, the places that you're familiar going to. When you go to sleep, your brain starts to slow down. The brain wave activity changes. You guys have heard about alpha, beta, theta, delta. Delta is sleep, but you have to move through these other stages of brainwave activity to get to sleep. Am I blowing your mind? How freaking cool is that? However, here's where I'm going to use the word issue arises. You're unintentional about this, obviously, because you probably didn't even know, right? But because you're unintentional, you're just going all willy-nilly through life. So let's fix that, or let's start to gain a little bit of control. So what is hypnosis? Hypnosis is actually a focused state of concentration, a deep focused state of concentration. You guys have heard athletes say when they're in the zone, that's what it is. Or have you ever been in flow where you're so focused on that one thing? It's kind of like time doesn't exactly stop, but it feels like you accomplish a ridiculous amount in a short period of time. That state of flow, it's a hypnotic state. So that is exactly what happens when you go into hypnosis. And I use air quotes on that, but that's part of the procedure. We lower the brainwave activity so that your subconscious mind can come to the front, not our monkey mind, the mind that's always kind of going and has the to-do list and that has all the nonsense it's probably saying to you, or that you allow it to say to you, that negative loop that I don't want to say we always talk about, but is very commonly talked about. The I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, I'm this, I'm not that. That loop is also a form of self-hypnosis. You're constantly repeating the same thing over and over. In this case, it's negative. So why not take control? And that's what hypnosis allows you to do. So I'm talking about conscious, subconscious mind. What is any of that, right? It's the two parts of us. The conscious mind is only 5%. 5% of your quote unquote logical mind, your conscious mind, the mind that you think is doing the things, the talking, the listening, the understanding, it's actually the weakest part of your mind. The boss is your subconscious mind, the 95% of your mind. Think about that for 1 second. 95% of your being is subconscious. That's crazy. So think about that. I'm sure you guys have studied or heard psychological references before, right? Carl Jung with the id, the subconscious mind. Or you've heard people say that your identity, who you think you are, typically forms within the first 0 to 7 years of life. Why? Because our subconscious mind is the most active. It is the most open. That's why you'll hear people or myself even refer to children as sponges. They're taking in all this information and they're processing it, right, from learning to walk to talk to eat. All the things happens between that time frame. That's why they always say for children is such a pivotal time in their life. 0 to 7 is actually also when you have created your personality, your identity, who you think you are. Think back, 0 to 7. What was life like? Was it positive? Was it negative? For some, they grew up in a lot of traumatic situations. I know some who grew up with, all butterflies and unicorns, which is cool. But I don't know if that's the norm. I'm not going to say either way is right or wrong. What I am going to say is 0 to 7. So you listening or you watching me right now, your subconscious mind, unless you've been working on it proactively, is that of a 7-year-old. Have you seen a 7-year-old? I have. I've raised them. I love them dearly when they were 7. I love them now also, but I don't think I'd want to give the keys to the car to the 7-year-old. And essentially, so many of us are doing that subconsciously on a day-to-day basis. You're allowing a 7-year-old to run the show. That's crazy, right? So when we get into hypnosis, this is when we get into hypnosis, we get to is primary word there. We get to shift this. We get to start understanding that, okay, maybe life happened when you were 6, 7 years old, but now you choose to be different. You're choosing to upgrade. Hypnosis allows this to happen naturally, intentionally, which I think is a key word there, because right now it's all unintentional, right? So as we lower the brainwave activity, we get into theta. Theta brainwave is where hypnosis works, or where we work in hypnosis. I'm not quite sure the best way to say that, but you get my point. And when we're in that theta state, our brain absorbs, our subconscious mind absorbs the new ideas we want to implant, the new ways of being we want to be in the world. Maybe you want to upgrade your thought process. This is where it happens. And it happens because we've understood that this is for our best interest. See, our subconscious mind wants us to win. It wants to give us our heart's desires. But it just doesn't necessarily know how to. And I know you guys have probably heard me talk about the reticulating activating system. This is where it comes into play. It starts looking for these new ways. If you're telling yourself, hey, I'm going to be more confident and I'm going to public speak more, all of a sudden you'll start to notice public speaking conversations happening or opportunities to speak in public. It's not magical, mystical. It's your subconscious mind hearing what you're saying and, okay, she wants this, and we're going to pull it in. It's the same concept that I've shared before about if you think about a yellow car, you're going to see a yellow car, right? You guys, does that ring a bell for some of you? I hope so. When we're in this hypnotic state, we can shift faster. And the reason it happens, well, because we're talking directly to the subconscious mind, and we bypass what's called a gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is very akin to the reticulating activating system, and it says, oh my goodness, this new idea, this is possible for us. This is that gatekeeper theory is also why so many times affirmations do not work. You guys have heard me talk about this before. Your affirmations don't work because your gatekeeper is like, you're writing, I am a millionaire, where in reality, your gatekeeper knows in the bank is only $100. So it's calling BS on that. It can't accept that. What it could possibly accept is this. I have what it takes to be a millionaire. I am working towards my first million. Oh my goodness, I'm so close, or I'm getting closer each and every day to my first million. That your gatekeeper will accept. Why? Because it's possible. Does that make sense? When we get into hypnosis, we allow these new, it's like training our brain to really think properly. And when we allow that to happen, that's when our identity starts to shift. That's when we show up more confidently. We show up and we work towards that first million with a little bit of zest, a lot of zest, actually. Hypnosis is the science of the mind, and it allows us to take control of our monkey mind, that 5% of conscious thought that's sometimes utter bullshit. And it allows the subconscious mind to really understand and to absorb the positive ideas, the new habits, the what's the word I'm looking for? These new ideas, it allows it to go straight in, and it starts to become natural for you. Here's a great example. Insomnia. First of all, insomnia is a side effect, a symptom. It's not actually like an addiction, so to speak. Insomnia is a byproduct of too much stress. So you can't control your monkey mind. It won't stop thinking, and instead of sleeping at 11:30, it decided that it's on full fire, and now it's like 4 a.m. Insomnia. Through hypnosis, we start to lower the brainwave activity, bring deep relaxation into your body, and now you're sleeping like a baby. Doesn't that sound amazing? What is it that you truly desire? Is there a change you're looking to make? And every day you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and you can't. It's not a lack of motivation often. Sometimes that is a problem, but it's not that you suck or that you're a horrible person. It's just that your subconscious mind has a whole different identity. It's thinking differently, and it has not caught up to you, or you have not caught up to it, or you have not actually created that lasting change. This is where hypnosis can help. Hypnosis can help, obviously, with insomnia, stress reduction, anxiety, weight release, because often it's not the food that's the problem. It's the mind. There isn't, before I start listing everything it can help with, let me make it simple. There is nothing that hypnosis cannot help with. Even peak performance athletes use hypnosis. There are a lot of social media influencers that you guys are probably used to seeing. They've used hypnosis. It's more common than not, and it's because you're wanting to take control of this one life. I know I'm like, I don't want to get on my soapbox about that because we all know how passionate I feel about this. With hypnosis, it becomes possible because we're working in the subconscious directly, and we get to choose, okay, what am I going to work on today? Or what in this session are we working on? Or what is this change I'm looking to create? It works with addictions. It works with confidence. Again, public speaking. The list is so long. But I really want to emphasize this isn't voodoo. This isn't magic. It's science. and it has to do with your brainwave activity. Am I blowing your mind? Because when I really started to delve into this, I knew I loved hypnosis. I've been hypnotized before intentionally because I was just tired of my own bullshit. And maybe that's you too. You're just like, man, I am just over doing the same stupid shit to myself, or not following through, and you can't figure out why. There is always going to be a place for talk therapy. And if that is something that you need, I have great references for you. Reach out to me. But there's also a time when you're just like, screw this, I'm over my own nonsense and I want the change. Hypnosis is the answer. And I hope that you're understanding how unintentionally throughout your day, throughout your life, you have been self-hypnotizing. But has it been working for you, or is it working against you? As you're listening and you're starting to ponder, I've been sitting here every day in, day out, telling myself how much I suck. And then I wonder why it's not happening. Guys, come on. Come on. If you've been following along on this podcast or on these episodes, then come on now. We want to upgrade our life. We need to upgrade our mindset. I think Albert Einstein is the one who said it. The mind that created the problem cannot be the mind that solves it. You got to upgrade it. And if this is something that's speaking to you and you're curious to learn more, hop on my discovery call. It's complimentary. And if you know me, or if you've ever been on a call with me, you will always walk away with practical tacticals. That's just how I am. That's just my human design. And that's one of my superpowers. So as a recap, hypnosis is science, and it's the science of brainwave activity. We lower it, we install a new operating system, basically, so your 7-year-olds can catch up to your actual age, and you get to create the identity, the person who you are, who you were meant to be. And speaking of this, I'm sure you guys have seen like stage hypnosis, where like they cluck like a chicken and all that stuff. When you're in hypnosis, you actually will not do anything that works against your value system. So if you're not someone who walks around really funny and like cracking jokes and clucking like a chicken on stage, then you wouldn't do it either. So I want to let you know that that gatekeeper that I mentioned earlier safeguards you. I had during my training, they showcased this one stage performance, and the gentleman on the stage, or there was a gentleman on the stage in this like lineup of people, and the stage hypnotist was like, okay, talk sexy to me, or would hit on me, or hit on somebody. So I don't remember all the details, but what I did remember was this gentleman was like, no, I can't do that. And under hypnosis, he's saying this, okay? And the stage hypnotist is like, why? I'm not attractive enough, or whatever it was. There's no one on stage that's attractive enough for you. The gentleman under hypnosis during this stage show said, no, I'm married. I'm happily married. And my wife, the hypnotist is like, well, she's not here. The gentleman said, that's okay, but I would know. The gatekeeper knew that this does not align with his value system, with his morals. The hypnotist then used this as a teaching moment during a stage performance. I know, it's crazy, but I want you to understand this because I think it's another important piece. The gatekeeper will not allow things that it knows works against your value system or works against your integrity. And I think that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So no matter, it's not mind control, it's science. And then you're protected by your gatekeeper. It only allows in things that's like, not that it feels good, but that it believes. And if it knows that in your heart, you're just this moral person and you wouldn't be cheating on your significant other, it's not going to allow it, not even in a stage show. So I hope that puts your mind at rest or at ease even more. I was going somewhere. Oh, I was just recapping. So hypnosis is not mind control. It is science, and it has to do with brainwave activity, something that you do to yourself every night when you're going to sleep. You drop your brainwave activity. And that's why at night, it's so important to really think about what you're doing. So many are mindlessly scrolling social media or watching some not so great, like, I don't want to say not a great show, but something maybe scary or something that feels real, right? And then you wonder why you can't sleep, or you wonder what the nightmares were, or at night when you go to sleep, you want to affirm, you want to listen to affirming music. Maybe you put on a hypnosis, maybe you put on a meditation. You want to give that, it's like nutrition to your brain. And speaking of movies, and then lastly, I'm going to drop this. Have you ever watched a show or a movie and you're completely pulled in? It's a hypnotic state. Have you ever listened to music and lost complete track of time because you were so moved by the music or you were just so into the music? It's a hypnotic state. Have you ever danced like everybody was watching or nobody was watching because you were just like, I am feeling so great? It's a hypnotic state. Day in, day out, you are self-hypnotizing. But I want you to start asking yourself, is it working for me or is it working against me? Bring intention, bring awareness into your day-to-day life. Again, if you're curious if hypnosis is for you, let's hop on a call. The discovery call link is in the show notes. And I really hope, actually, I would love to hear some feedback. Did you learn something new today? Did you hear me say something and you were like, holy shit, no way? All right. Well, listen, I am looking forward to hearing from you. If you found something that you just were blown away by, share it on social and definitely tag me because I want to be able to shout you out. And like always, I'm wishing you a beautiful day. I'm Chaitali Desai, and remember, it's time to rise. So let's go.